A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand marked a major boost to India's Indo-Pacific diplomacy. The three-nation tour strengthened strategic partnerships, expanded trade and investment cooperation and deepened collaboration in security, technology, critical minerals and education. The visit underscored India's growing role as a trusted regional partner and increasingly influential global player.
India has been steadily strengthening its engagement in the Indo-Pacific, a region vital to global trade security and economic growth. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Indonesia marked a significant step in advancing this vision. During talks with President Prabowo Subianto, the two leaders expanded cooperation in maritime security, defense, trade, critical minerals, digital technology, energy and connectivity while reaffirming their commitment to a free, open and rules-based Indo-Pacific.
2018 में बनी हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप आज एक नई उड़ान ले रही है। हम डेवलपमेंट, सिक्योरिटी, टेक्नोलॉजी, कल्चर और एजुकेशन हर क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण कदम बढ़ा रहे हैं। मुझे विश्वास है आज से भारत इंडोनेशिया साझेदारी का एक सुनहरा अध्याय शुरू होगा।
Kedua negara memandang kerjasama ekonomi sebagai salah satu pilar utama hubungan bilateral. Untuk itu kami berkomitmen untuk meningkatkan perdagangan bilateral secara signifikan melalui percepatan pembahasan Indonesia-India Preferential Trade Agreement dan peninjauan upgrading ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement.
The leaders also inaugurated the India-supported conservation of the UNESCO-listed Prambanan Temple, highlighting the enduring civilizational bonds between the two nations. Prime Minister Modi also addressed the Indonesian Parliament in Jakarta and urged lawmakers to elevate ties between the two countries by working together in a number of domains, including maritime, food security, counter-terrorism.
हमारे पास समुद्र से जुड़ी भविष्य की अनेक संभावनाएं हैं। इसलिए मैं आज समुद्र की इसी विशालता को आधार बनाकर आपसे भारत इंडोनेशिया के संबंधों को नई ऊंचाई देने का आग्रह करूंगा।
Australia remains one of India's closest strategic and economic partners in the Indo-Pacific, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit further strengthened these ties. During talks with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, the two leaders expanded cooperation in defense, maritime security, clean energy, critical minerals, technology and education. The visit also advanced collaboration in green hydrogen, renewable energy and critical minerals, alongside stronger business ties through the India-Australia CEO Forum. A major outcome was the agreement to operationalize Australian uranium exports for India's civilian nuclear energy program, supporting India's goal of expanding nuclear power capacity while strengthening long-term energy security.
Today we can confirm the signing of the administrative arrangement to enable uranium exports to India for peaceful purposes under the 2015 Australia-India Nuclear Cooperation Agreement. The arrangement facilitates Australian uranium exports to India to help increase the share of non-fossil fuel power capacity, providing an additional market for the Australian resources sector.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया से भारत को यूरेनियम सप्लाई का मार्ग खुलेगा और हमारे क्लीन एनर्जी के उद्देश्यों को नई ताकत मिलेगी। क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स में हमारा सहयोग हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक सिक्योरिटी और क्लीन एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed the Indian diaspora in Australia, describing the community as a vital bridge between the two nations. He praised their contribution to Australia's development, celebrated India's growing global stature, and highlighted the shared democratic values, innovation, and cultural ties that continue to strengthen the India-Australia partnership. Following successful visits to Indonesia and Australia, Prime Minister Modi concluded his three-nation Indo-Pacific tour in New Zealand, opening a new chapter in bilateral relations. The two countries launched negotiations for a comprehensive free trade agreement and expanded cooperation in trade, technology, education, agriculture, clean energy, sports, and innovation. The visit also reinforced people-to-people ties and reflected India's growing engagement with key Indo-Pacific partners through stronger economic and strategic cooperation.
The crisis in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is no longer confined to the region, as Islamabad faces growing criticism over its handling of the Joint Awami Action Committee movement. Voices of solidarity are now growing louder across the United Kingdom. Protesters, right activists and political leaders are accusing Pakistan of using force against civilians while ignoring demands for basic rights. British MP Bob Blackman has also called for greater accountability over the situation. Here's our report. The movement demanding basic rights in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is rapidly gaining international attention as protest against Pakistan's action spread beyond the region. Hundreds of members of the Kashmiri diaspora gathered outside the Pakistani consulate in Bradford, accusing Islamabad of turning a peaceful civil rights movement into a security operation. Protesters allege that the Pakistani administration has tightened restrictions across several areas, disrupted the supply of essential goods, increased arrest of activists, and deployed heavy security to suppress dissent. The demonstration came just a day after the London Million March, where thousands of Kashmiris and supporters rallied in solidarity with the Joint Awami Action Committee.
वहाँ पर पाकिस्तानी फोर्सेस जो हैं वो हमारे रियासती अवाम पर जुल्म कर रही हैं। आज़ाद कश्मीर के अंदर खुराक पर पाबंदी है, अदियात नहीं जाने दे रहे। बहुत सारे हमारे रियासती नौजवानों को पाकिस्तान की फोर्सेस ने अगवा कर रखा है। हमारे शोधा की लाशें जो हैं वो भी उठाकर ले गए हैं, वो लाशें वापस नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो 5 जुलाई को लंदन में बहुत बड़ा मुजाहरा हुआ है, जिसमें 1 लाख के करीब जो है लोग वहाँ पर मौजूद थे, जिसमें ख्वातीन, बच्चे, बूढ़े, नौजवान सभी शामिल थे। और ये हुकूमत पाकिस्तान और पाकिस्तान के हुक्मरानों के लिए एक बड़ा वाज़ेह मैसेज है कि अगर चार्टर ऑफ डिमांड जो आपने माना हुआ है, जो मुआहदा कर रखा है ज्वाइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी के साथ, उस मुआहदे पर अमल दरामद किया जाए।
The unrest follows months of tension in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir after protest over inflation, electricity tariffs and governance evolved into a broader movement demanding political accountability and fundamental rights. Rights groups and activists have repeatedly accused Pakistani authorities of excessive use of force, arbitrary detentions, communication restrictions and intimidation of protest leaders. Several leaders of the Joint Awami Action Committee have reportedly been placed under Schedule 4 of Pakistan's Anti-Terrorism Act, a measure critics say is increasingly being used to curb political dissent rather than address genuine security threats. Speakers at the Bradford demonstration alleged that security forces were using state resources against civilians instead of protecting them and demanded the immediate withdrawal of security restrictions, release of detained activists and restoration of democratic freedoms across the region.
हम यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं ब्रैडफोर्ड कॉन्सुलेट के बाहर। हम अपने उन दोस्तों के साथ जो इस वक्त रावला कोर्ट में धरना दिए बैठे हैं, जो एक्शन कमेटी के पूरे दोस्त जो जहाँ भी पूरे कश्मीर के अंदर इस वक्त मुश्किल में हैं, 4th शेड्यूल का सामना कर रहे हैं, कलादम करार दे दिए गए हैं। हमारे जो दोस्त और जो कॉमरेड्स वहाँ शहीद कर दिए गए। वो चीज़ें जो हमारी हिफाजत के लिए हमारे टैक्स के पैसों से खरीदी गई, उसी असला से आज हमारे लोगों को मारा जा रहा है। और हम कहते हैं कि फिल 4 जो है वो ये 4th शेड्यूल का खात्मा किया जाए, वहाँ से फोर्सेस को पीछे हटाया जाए और लोगों का जो पुरअमन लोगों के जो मुतालबात थे एक्शन कमेटी के वो फिल 4 माने जाएं।
The issue has also entered political discourse in Britain. Speaking in the UK Parliament, British Conservative MP Bob Blackman questioned whether merely updating travel advice for the region was an adequate response to the reported violence in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. He urged the British government to summon Pakistan's High Commissioner and seek an explanation over allegations of excessive force against peaceful protesters. The growing mobilization of the Kashmiri diaspora in Europe, coupled with mounting international scrutiny, has increased pressure on Islamabad over its handling of the continuing unrest. Despite repeated calls from activists for dialogue and implementation of earlier commitments made to the Joint Awami Action Committee, demonstrations continue both inside Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and overseas, reflecting persistent dissatisfaction with Pakistan's governance of the region. And now time for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent. El Nino is a weather pattern that has started to develop in the Pacific Ocean. The World Meteorological Organization says it is likely to become strong in the coming months. A strong El Nino can make global temperatures rise and increase the chances of extreme weather such as heat waves, droughts, and heavy rainfall in different parts of the world. It may cause dry weather in Central America, the Caribbean, parts of North and South America, South Asia, Indonesia, and Southeast Asia. Scientists also say El Nino can help push global temperatures to record highs. Europe recently faced a severe heat wave linked to climate change. The effects of El Nino are expected to continue through the end of the year and into 2027. Two Russian adventure artists, Angela Nikolaou and Vanya Birkus, climbed to the top of the Empire State Building in New York City. They reached the building's tall antenna about 443 meters above the ground and held a large black banner with the message, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." The act also appeared to be a marriage proposal. They wore black clothes and shared photos and videos of the climb on social media. It is not known how they reached the top because security at the building is very strict after the 2001 attacks. Police later arrested both of them. The event happened as New York was preparing for large public celebrations and large crowds. Khaleda Popal, the former captain of the Afghanistan women's football team, is using the excitement of the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Mexico City to support refugee children and poor communities. After leaving Afghanistan when the Taliban returned to power in 2021, she started football training programs with local groups. Popal believes football should help people even after the World Cup ends. She says sport and social issues are closely connected, especially in women's football. She also worries that growing business and sponsorship in football are reducing players' voices. Through her organization, Girl Power, she hopes football can build confidence, friendship, and better opportunities for refugees and vulnerable girls. Pakistan's security challenges appear to be intensifying with yet another major militant attack, highlighting the worsening situation in Balochistan. At least 9 police personnel lost their lives after militants attacked a police post in Ziyarat district. Pakistan has since claimed that dozens of militants were killed in a counter-operation. The assault, claimed by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, has once again cast a spotlight on Islamabad's struggle to curb rising militancy, even as it continues to face multiple insurgencies across Balochistan. Here's our report.
Balochistan has once again turned into the epicenter of Pakistan's worsening security crisis. An overnight assault on a police post in Ziyarat district left at least 9 police personnel dead, including senior commanders, while several others remain missing. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP claimed responsibility for the attack, saying it inflicted heavy casualties and seized weapons and military equipment during the raid. The encounter reportedly continued for several hours before Pakistani security forces launched a clearance operation. According to Pakistan's military, at least 54 terrorists were killed in 3 separate operations across Balochistan since July 6. However, the security forces also acknowledged that 42 police and military personnel lost their lives during the same period, highlighting the scale of the challenge facing the Pakistani state.
ये जो 3 मैंने आपको बड़े ऑपरेशंस बताए, इनमें 4 सिविलियन पहले और बाद में पुलिस के हमारे जवान, फौज के जवान, तो टोटल हमारी जो शहादतें हैं वो 42 कीमती जानें इस मुल्क की अल्लाह ताला को उन्होंने अपनी जानें सुपुर्द की हैं, अपने मुल्क का हिफाजत करते हुए, बहादुरी के साथ लड़ते हुए.
While the TTP has intensified attacks on police stations, military convoys and security installations since the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan, Balochistan has also witnessed a long-running separatist movement driven by allegations of political exclusion, economic exploitation and human rights abuses. The province has become one of Pakistan's most volatile regions, where security personnel, infrastructure projects and government installations are frequently targeted. Despite repeated military operations, Islamabad has struggled to establish lasting control over large parts of the province.
See, the TTP is much more Islamic Sharia propagating armed group. The BLA, Balochistan Army, is much more ethnicity, autonomy, CPEC opposition and other such activities. So these both groups have slightly different agendas, but yes, they are both overlapping also. Now, beyond Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which was the traditional base of the Pakistani Taliban, they seem to be moving also into North Balochistan. And this latest attack, one of the latest attacks on a water project which would supply water to the city, has again shown that what the Pakistani Taliban is trying is to destroy, damage the credibility of the Pakistani state in the regions where it can have or make an impact.
Pakistan has consistently blamed Afghanistan-based terrorist sanctuaries for the growing violence, accusing the Afghan Taliban of providing safe havens to TTP fighters. Kabul has repeatedly rejected these allegations. The tensions have also spilled across the border, with Pakistan carrying out airstrikes inside Afghanistan in recent months. Afghan authorities and the United Nations have alleged that civilians were among those killed, further straining relations between the two neighbors. The violence comes against the backdrop of persistent unrest in Balochistan. The resource-rich province has remained plagued by separatist violence, enforced disappearance allegations, economic grievances, and repeated security crackdowns.
If you look at the number of terrorist attacks, what Pakistan calls terrorists, the Pakistani Taliban and the Baluchi Liberation Army and others, the number of terrorist attacks have been going up. Last year, according to some estimates, in 2025, there were over 600 or approximately 600 attacks by the TTP. The year before, in 2024, it was around 500. Similarly, the Balochistan Liberation Army, last year, it said that they had around 400 attacks. And in 2024, it was about 300 or 250 attacks. So in the past 2 years, it seems the number of reported or claimed attacks has been going up, both by the Pakistani Taliban and also by the Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA. So it does show that whatever strategy Pakistan has with regards to Pakistani Taliban is not working.
With terrorists continuing to strike security installations, casualties mounting among Pakistan's own forces and instability spreading across its western frontier, the latest violence in Balochistan once again raises uncomfortable questions about Islamabad's ability to contain growing internal threats. As Pakistan confronts simultaneous challenges from militant groups and regional instability, Balochistan remains a stark reminder that the country's security crisis is far from over.
India is fast emerging as a global powerhouse in chess. From producing world champions and grandmasters to nurturing a new generation of prodigies, the country is witnessing a remarkable chess revolution. At the heart of this transformation is Chennai, the city that gave India its first world chess champion and continues to shape the champions of tomorrow. So what makes Chennai the new chess capital? Let's find out. No one is sprinting. There are no roaring crowds, no stadium lights, yet an intense battle unfolds here every second. Across 64 squares, every move demands strategy, patience and precision. One mistake can change the course of the game. This is chess, a sport that is inspiring a new generation of young Indians. At the heart of this movement is Chennai, widely regarded as India's chess capital. The city is home to some of the country's finest chess academies where young minds are being trained to become tomorrow's champions. We visited the Madras School of Chess where every lesson is another move towards a grandmaster's dream.
So we have a structured training courses across levels, like from absolute beginner to rated players. So we have separate batches, we have standard curriculum. I think the most important thing is consistent and balanced training.
Now meet one of the brightest faces of India's new chess generation, Akash Ganesan, India's 66th Grandmaster and the youngest ever winner of the National Senior Chess Championship. With this remarkable achievement, Akash surpassed a long-standing record set by India's chess legend Vishwanathan Anand, marking the arrival of a new generation ready to take Indian chess to ever greater heights.
When I became a grandmaster, there are two types of people. One who is very happy about it and the other one who is relieved. Okay, finally I became a grandmaster. I was belonging to the second one because I was chasing this GM title for a long time. After my engineering, I quit engineering. I just went into full-time into chess. I was taking a lot of risk. So when it finally happened, I had a moment of relief.
The rise of chess in Chennai is no longer limited to classrooms and academies. Across the city, it has grown into a vibrant community movement, bringing people together through a shared love for the game. One such initiative is the Chennai Chess Club, where open chess camps are held every Sunday, welcoming players of all ages and skill levels to learn, compete, and enjoy the game together.
We wanted to bring in all age groups, all skill level, women of even 60 plus who wanted to play chess. This is when we started Chennai Chess Club. So chess is for all. Chess is for everyone. So let them all come in, have fun. So that is when we started the Sunday meetups.
This is a very shorter format for any working parent to actually bring the kid so that the kid actually gets motivated to play at a very, very different level. This is how Pragnananda played. This is how Gugesh.
These scenes reflect that the rise of chess in India is not merely about medals and rankings. It is, in sense, a story of a changing mindset. Today, chess is being embraced not just by the young but by people of all ages as a powerful tool for learning, creativity, and mental growth. In India, chess is no longer confined to the boundaries of sport. It is steadily evolving into a culture, a way of thinking, and a shared language of the mind. From producing legends to creating champions, India's next big move is on the global chessboard. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.